Join us for lively discussion about the A-State community. Each week, we'll meet with a variety of faculty, staff, and students to discuss all things Arkansas State University. Live from the ASU-TV studios in the School of Media and Journalism, this is A-State Connections. And hello, everyone. Welcome to A-State Connections on ASU-TV. I'm Jonathan Reeves, Academic Advisor at Arkansas State University. Well, Arkansas State sports are in full swing, and as we start the Season 5 of A-State Connections, we're going to be talking about A-State sports. Paint the Town Red this week leads up to Saturday's football game with Tulsa, volleyball, soccer, and much more going on right now. Here to talk about all things Red Wolf sports is Associate Athletic Director of Marketing and Fan Engagement, and my good friend Brad Bobo.
Yes,
Thank you so much for coming back and joining us.
No, it's always a pleasure. You know, on a lot of fronts, just to sit and get to chat with you, but to come back on campus. Period. I love being on campus. Certainly love being in this building and get a chance to see the things you guys are doing with these students. As a former one myself, it's awesome to get to see how this thing just keeps evolving.
What is so fun is that you're talking about the students, and we always give a shout out to the students who are behind the scenes running the show, but they do such an amazing job. And really, we're kind of throwing them, into everything, especially with this being the first show of the season. But they always do fantastic. So
never a doubt. No.
Always good, always good. So now let's start by talking about, of course, football. We had the UCA game that took place, and now we've got another one coming up. It's a big week with Paint the Town Red. Man, there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, there sure is. And go back and touch on Saturday just a little bit. This past Saturday. The end result is 1-0, and that's all that matters.
Yeah,
you never apologize for winning.
Right.
And then you take it and you build on it. I mean, that's our football team, that's our athletic staff, that's my staff, in game management and the game day stuff. Everybody's, back in the lab this week building and improving from game 1 to game 2. So it's exciting to get to turn right around and do it again. We had our largest crowd since COVID Saturday night. Best student section probably at least that long. And it started like you could get the indicator with Red Wolf Walk Saturday afternoon that it was good. And so all of a sudden, well, that's a tip that maybe the rest of this is going to be good. And I'd even, can go back a step further as we were talking off the air. We had a phenomenal crowd at volleyball last Friday night when they beat Ole Miss, including a really, really big student turnout, which to me was maybe the earliest indicator that, hey, maybe, they're doing this right now. That's an indicator that they're coming tomorrow too. And they sure did. And truly impacted the game. And that's really what, it's when we hammer the point home about coming to these games and creating an environment, creating a home field advantage. They're not just talking points. And the magic of playing at home is not that you get to wear a different jersey or helmet. It's you get to play in front of your people. And when the chips are down and when the game's on the line, they can provide you an edge to help win a game. And that happened Saturday night.
And when you're there close to the floor and you're kind of assisting with the game and doing some other things by way of maybe some of the behind-the-scenes aspects of it, you can really feel how the audience involvement really can turn the game around. And you can feel that excitement. And I know that's that extra fuel a lot of times that those players need to be able to get out there and score those extra points.
Well, and it works both ways, right?
Like
your home crowd can, and what you hope happens is that they positively impact things. But, I mean, just being honest, a bad home crowd has the same ability to negatively impact things. And that's where, Red Wolf Walk before a football game that happens 2 hours and 15 minutes before. So for a 6 o'clock game like this week, that happens at 3:45. Yeah. That's why we just continuously talk about how important that is, because that's the note, our players start their game day on. Getting off that bus and walking through Tailgate City into the stadium. If it's good,
then
that means they've got a little juice going into the stadium. But if it's bad, it absolutely can go the other way. So it was great this past Saturday. Looking forward to being probably, hopefully, even better this week for Tulsa.
And the weather's going to be perfect.
Oh my gosh!
You know, I mean,
I'm looking like knocking on wood. I mean,
yeah, right.
The forecast is. I mean, it's literally what you would draw up if you could do it about any way you'd want to do it.
Exactly. And so, of course, on a game day on Saturday, people love to tailgate.
Yep.
And all that. So let's talk about tailgating opportunities and kind of those things that are going on at Tailgate City and just on game day.
Yeah, so I mean, we can kind of there's multiple layers and levels to that, and quite honestly, I'm glad you asked because truth be told, there's probably I think even in kind of year 3 of this current setup, there's still a lot of misinformation out there.
Right.
We do work with a company called Revel XP that manages sort of the tailgate plots and tents and stuff in literal Tailgate City. And they can do anything from just rent you literally a plot of ground to rent you a tent as big as you want to go with your tables, your chairs, your ice, your coolers, and you could even get your satellite TV in it. So it literally, everything from just a plot to a turnkey operation.
Yeah.
Is available. And right there in Tailgate City is the only place where you have to pay to tailgate. Mm-hmm. Anywhere else on this campus, quite honestly, that you can find a spot to tailgate where you're not impeding or messing with the flow of traffic, knock yourself out.
Have at it.
Yeah.
Have a good time. And what I love seeing about that is that, yes, you've got a lot of people there at Tailgate City, but it really also sets the atmosphere when you're kind of driving in and you're going in by the baseball stadium and you're seeing A-State stuff everywhere. And boy, that's just game day. It just gets you really excited and fired up for a game.
It does. And then, of course, there's being on campus, you want to talk about students and what they've got going on in the Pines. And I would like to actually, hopefully we can spend just a minute talking about our students.
Yes.
Because I'm going to be honest with you. I've of the opinion and have been of the opinion that they get a bad rap. We have a lot of our fan base who aren't students who spend a lot of time worrying about the students, to be honest with you. And I thought this Saturday night they turned out in big numbers in the student section. That patio at the Pines, as we call that deck in the student section was full and it was hopping. Our esports team was there playing NCAA college football, and the DJ's there, and so there's a lot of stuff happening. But they came, and they were engaged. They were into it. And so, they get kicked around a little bit. So when they do what's asked of them, I want to be sure that we kind of build them up. And they were great on Saturday, even when an opportunity when they could have gone home, had an extra day. So for that number to stick around and help us get a win was awesome. Like I said, they did the same thing Friday night at volleyball, and it even has me more excited about kind of the level they'll take it to this week for Tulsa.
That's right. So, and it's going to be a big game because we have Paint the Town Red going on. And then bring your red to the stadium there on Saturday, right?
Yep, wear red. Of course, there's Paint the Town Red is something that's gone on with the chamber here for a long time. A lot of times, and more often than not, it goes into the first game of the year. And with the first game falling on Labor Day weekend, the A-State committee kind of bumped it back, and we had that opportunity to go back-to-back. So that's why this week is Paint the Town Red week. So there's stuff going on all over town. A block party downtown Friday night with live music and our band and Spirit and coaches and players. And then, Saturday, wear red because not just because it's Paint the Town Red week, because there's always one of those, but our fans are not going to be the only ones wearing red this week. Yeah. So is the football team. For the first time in a long time, they're breaking out their brand new red jerseys Saturday night. People are excited about it. It was in the update to NCAA college football where you could play now as A-State in the red jersey, and you could see them kind of in person for the first time Saturday night.
That's going to be great. That's going to be a fantastic time. So it's going to set up 6 o'clock is when that's going to be taking place. It's going to be a great time there at the Vault, for sure.
Yeah, and like I said, I've heard Coach Jones talk this week, and he meant it. He said, honestly, he thought for the first time since he's been here, and he's in his 4th season, he said for the first time since he's been here, he thought, the crowd won us a game.
Yeah.
And so, by all accounts, this one should be equally entertaining. I think it's two fairly evenly matched teams, and so we need that winning edge to come wherever it can come from. And if it can come from our stands, then that's awesome. We'll take it as we try to start 2-0 for the first time since 2008.
Fantastic. That'd be great. 2-0, going on the road for a couple of weeks, and then coming back for homecoming.
That's right. Yeah, 2 road games and an off week before we get back here, as you said, for homecoming. So, hadn't had a lot of opportunities to start 2-0. We've got one here this week, and hopefully we'll all pitch in and kind of help us get there.
So be loud, be proud, wear your red, and let's have some fun.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
good time.
I believe, even bigger than just on this campus. I think, from like an economic development standpoint, I think the 6 biggest events that happen in this town are the 6 home football games, just by sheer numbers, right? There's nothing else that's going to draw like a football game. So hopefully it's something we can all take some pride in.
And that's one of the things I'm glad you mentioned about downtown, because people can spend the day in downtown, they can eat in downtown, they can do what they want to do, and then grab a bus from downtown and head to the game. Yeah,
the city, the JET system runs the bus from downtown. Like you can ride it for, it's like $1.25 or something like that. You could ride it. You could have bought a season pass for $10, where it will pick you up at the free lot downtown on Kate Street, drop you off at the gate of the stadium, and take you back. And by the way, you can also do the same thing on campus, where it picks up at sort of Aggie and Marionberry Parkway, the big parking lot, and across from the yard. They run that too, so you can hop on that shuttle on campus, and it takes you to the gate and brings you right back. They're also going to run a lot of shuttles from campus to the block party downtown Friday night. Constant shuttles running back and forth, taking students downtown if they want to go.
That's the thing about connecting the university and downtown and being able to continue that, and that's just going to be that's going to add to the fun of being part of that. We're going to continue talking about that and so much more about A-State, because when we come back, I want to talk about soccer going on tonight. Today, so we've got that and some more stuff that's going on. So what we're going to do, Associate Athletic Director of Marketing and Fan Engagement, Brad Bobo, joins me here on A-State Connections. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have more right after this.
I think one of the things I learned at Arkansas State was life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% of how you respond to it, and that's just something that I live by.
A-State is home, and they're going to treat you like you're a part of the family.
Red Wolf Radio is a student-led organization at Arkansas State University wanting to hear your takes on pop culture, music, the news, and college life. Just about anything you can think of. Located in the Education and Communications building on campus, we are always looking for more volunteers. So if you're an Arkansas State University student, no matter the major, and this is something that interests you, shoot us an email at redwolfradio@astate.edu. That's redwolfradio@astate.edu. Let them hear you howl.
Live from the ASU-TV studios in the School of Media and Journalism, this is A-State Connections. And hello, everyone. Welcome back to A-State Connections on ASU-TV. I'm Jonathan Reeves. Today, we're continuing our conversation with Associate Athletic Director of Marketing and Fan Engagement, Brad Bobo. And thanks again for joining me here on A-State Connections.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. So we were talking before we hit the break about a lot of stuff that's going on with football and that. Before we go to the soccer match that's going on today, you want to talk about some of the other games that's going to be going on with football season?
Well, I mean, like I said, we go. Our football schedule is a little different in that we've got the first 2 at home, the last 2 at home. So you got a pretty big gap in the middle with just 2 home games. But particularly for this week, we mentioned wear red. Football team's going to do the same. And then a promotional item that we had that was pretty popular last year, and I think it'll be as much or more so this year, is that Greenway Equipment is the game sponsor this week, and they've had a cap made.
Oh, yeah.
With a it's kind of it has a patch on the front that was specially made for them as the official ag equipment dealer of the Red Wolves. So it has their logo and ours, and the first 1,000 fans through the gate at 4 o'clock will get one of those caps.
Sweet. That's fantastic. So 4 o'clock is when it starts, but you want to get there a lot earlier and just kind of celebrate throughout the day.
Right, 3:45, be out there for Red Wolf Walk.
Cool.
And then even if you don't have a tailgate, at that point, we've got the Hijinks Kids Zone that's up and running.
Yep.
We've got there are food trucks set up in Tailgate City just so that you don't feel like you've got to have a tailgate party to be able to go get something to eat. So multiple food trucks out there with kind of different things to have too. Plus now those Alpha Pack tailgate parties that go on every home game where there's a group of community leaders have come together and they sell a kind of almost an all-inclusive ticket where for one price you get not just your game ticket but also a ticket to the Alpha Pack tailgate where they have food and drink and free music and other stuff going on. So, a lot of people pitched in to kind of help elevate game day.
Very good. Sounds great. So, but we don't have to wait for Saturday for game day because today actually is game day.
Today is game day and a big one. And so if you're watching this live or you see it before 3 o'clock today, I would love to see a big crowd at our soccer complex, which is, you sort of go to the end of the overpass on Marion Berry and circle back under it. And, our soccer team's at home at 3 o'clock this afternoon hosting Kansas State. So our volleyball team's already knocked off an SEC team this season, and so now soccer gets a chance to try to get in on the fun and hand a Big 12 team a loss here this afternoon.
And that's one thing that it's really fun to be able to watch volleyball, to watch soccer. I mean, the soccer team, they got a good team. Volleyball's got a really good team. I mean, this is a lot of fun to be able to watch, and definitely want to get as many people once again out there to be able to see them play as well.
Right, and
so good.
Free admission obviously to soccer matches, so check that out. And something we can mention today and then come back and talk at greater length at any time you want, but it's part of a year-long celebration of the 50th anniversary of women's sports here at Arkansas State.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's something that, honestly, I didn't realize until you just said that.
So
that's
it started,
significant. That is significant.
1974 started with women's basketball, volleyball, and tennis were the three original sports, and they hired one coach, a lady by the name of Kay Woodhill, who I think was all of about 23 at the time. She was hired to coach all three. She was hired as the women's sports coach at Arkansas State, and that's when women's sports moved from being basically like club sports essentially now to be an intercollegiate and started competing. And so we had a handful of several former volleyball players back for the Ole Miss match. When volleyball gets home again, we'll be announcing the all 50-year team for our volleyball program. There'll be the same thing for basketball. But even though those three were the original three, we've just sort of rolled the other ones into it and just going to spend this year, celebrating how far women's sports has come really everywhere, but here at Arkansas State.
And definitely worth the celebration for that, because the women teams are doing phenomenal, bringing in a lot of, it's just a lot of fun to be able to watch them and being able to have, and that's what I really love about this is that you're going to get crowds that will come in and I love the support that the women get in the sports. It's just fantastic that we get so many people that are coming in and cheering on the Red Wolves.
Long history of great crowds for
Yes.
women's basketball here. I said the volleyball crowd was great Friday night, and hopefully that'll continue to build there. And, this is actually, I think, the 25th soccer season, oddly enough, to kind of fall in line with that. Women's golf is getting going next week. Bowling will be going before you know it. Of course, they're 4-time national runner-up, and just waiting to knock down that last peg and win a national championship, which is absolutely coming. So, we've had a lot of success in women's sports, and really, the start we're off to with getting a football win. Volleyball starting 3-0. Soccer now is 2-1-1. They had a match suspended, but they've allowed one goal all season. It honestly is a lot of carryover to what was, I think for a lot of people, probably a sneaky good year last year that maybe people don't realize how good it was.
Right.
But, out of our 16 sports, 10 participated in some sort of some sort of postseason play last year. 10 of our 16 played in the postseason. Probably the highest number there's ever been in a single year. Of course, and that's not even getting into kind of the momentum men's basketball has right now. We're off to a good start, but it's really building on what was a good year last year.
Yeah, and I think you're right. There's not a lot of conversation that's about that, but when you think about that, how many universities can say they've had that many teams that have been participating in the postseason, as you say, to be able to do that, and that just really bodes well for not just what they're doing now, but for the future of Red Wolf
So
sports.
it's an exciting time.
Yeah,
it really is. And I don't, I mean, it's my job to say that, but I'm not just saying it because of my job. It just happened. Fortunately for all of us, it's true that really across the board, we got an awful lot of our programs. I mean, really, you could honestly probably say every program is on an upward trajectory. And it's not very often at very many places you can say that. And we're fortunate to have that happening right now. So hopefully everybody can tap into that and just help that trajectory continue to go up.
Fantastic. I want to ask you about the Red Wolf Foundation while we've got just a few minutes here about that. For people who are not familiar with that, tell us about the Red Wolf Foundation, what they do, and what's kind of the trajectory for this year.
Well, I mean, here, like most places, your foundation is a nonprofit arm of your athletics department. It is a nonprofit organization that helps us, in short, enhance the experience of our student athletes, to do things that we can do for them beyond just what they get in a scholarship. And not that that's not great, but it takes more. It takes a lot more. And so that's where, your foundation comes in. And there's people giving that in all kinds of ways, from up to, certain seats or parking locations that require a donation to obtain, up to 7-figure naming deals.
Yeah, right. So there could be always that opportunity to be able to continue to do that. So
stay tuned.
Yeah. So are you teasing something that could be coming? We'll see.
Ask me tomorrow.
We might have to bring you back again if that's the case. So we'll have to get Galen Perkins on that for sure, who runs everything. So okay. So you've left us with a tease here. That's awesome. So with that, we are once again we are so excited about all of the things that are going on. Basketball will be starting up here real soon. Baseball, of course, will be, going on in the spring and all that. The Red Wolf Foundation, does part of that money go into like for example, there's been talk for a while about, upgrades to the baseball stadium and those kinds of things and all that. Do they kind of go into some of those things as well?
They sure can. They absolutely can. I mean, there's so many kind of different ways to give. Whether it's just, again, to get your parking, to get your seats,
right?
To just give in general and say, hey, here's my gift, put it where you need it, up to, specific capital projects. And so, I mean, you can, in some ways, you can have as much say in kind of where you'd like to steer your gift to the Red Wolves Foundation as you want to have.
Very good. So as we wrap this up.
You're talking about, you say something about baseball.
Yeah, baseball, yeah. So,
okay.
I mean, maybe we could have another announcement on that here pretty soon, possibly, maybe. We'll see. Okay, sounds good. So before we let you run, I really appreciate you being here. Anything else you would like to add about A-State athletics?
No, I mean, like I said, it really, it is a fun time. A lot of stuff is going well. And a lot of times, like I said, I don't know that we stop and step back far enough to realize how many things are going well. So, jump in. Listen, I mean, if you're a bandwagon jumper, that's okay. Now it's time to jump because the bandwagon's going well. So we won't ask any questions. Just come on. I think we're in a great position, even starting as soon as Saturday night. We talked about this past week being our best crowd since COVID.
Yes.
I don't think that'll be true after Saturday night.
I think this crowd will surpass.
I do think that. When you just all the elements are there, getting a win, a regional opponent, good matchup, Chamber of Commerce weather, all the things are in play that it could be a special one Saturday night. So find a way to get there.
So with that going on there on Saturday, and then with other things that could be taking place
Between now and then.
it's exciting. And I guess what we could say is stay tuned.
Absolutely. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned and be locked and loaded and ready to go. My friend, thank you so much for joining us as always. Really appreciate you.
Always fun. I appreciate the chance to come and visit with you, but certainly get to visit about what we got going on.
All right, tell your family I said hi, please. Very good. That'll do it for this edition of A-State Connections. I want to thank my guest, Brad Bobo, for being here today and joining me. Also want to thank instructor of creative media production, Galen Perkins, and his amazing students in the Video Production 1 class who are behind the scenes running the show today. Also, thanks to broadcast engineer Timmy Arquid and graduate assistant Sujita Karki for their help as well for the show. And that'll do it for this edition of A-State Connections. So long, everyone, and we'll see you next time.